I feel like you were keeping people calm in multiple text threads during the game, so thank you. That's
which is not normal.
that's usually a job that's solely for me, and to have your help was incredible. Welcome to My God a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I review Georgia's come from behind win in a 44-41 overtime thriller with Tennessee. We talk about our experiences on Saturday and what stood out to us during the game. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at MyGottaPodcast. Finally, if you need help with your website or your online presence, head over to workingwebmedia.com/dogs. Now, let's join the conversation in progress.
We hit too many we should be recordings, so we had to hit record.
Yeah, if you say it twice, then you really have to hit the record button. Um,
Yeah,
aside from that, I mean, just as we predicted.
just as we predicted.
I will
A
say this.
barn burner.
Right. I will say this. We got the beginning right. My sister actually texted me like when they drove down the field on the opening possession and scored. She texted me and she
Uh,
was like, "You said this was going to happen on the podcast. I'm not worried." And I was like, "Yes."
yes. That's I feel like everybody kind of had that mentality because I had a couple of people that were talking about that. Like every time they score on us, they just cut through us like a hot knife through butter. And yeah, I was having to explain it to my kids as I was cooking and prepping all day on Saturday, but
Mm.
I had to let the kids know, like, yep, this is just what they do.
Yeah. On that note, how was the barbecue? Because I saw the pictures, but I don't remember getting like how did it turn out?
Barbecue turned out great, man. So I ended up making some pulled pork that I cooked overnight. It was my first overnight cook. I learned some things, but a lot of it is just you kind of have to like chalk it up to like I can't just spend all day on a hunk of meat like finessing it all, babying it along.
Yeah.
But it ended up being real good. We have a lot of leftovers, which is what normally happens because people eat the barbecue for a day or so, and then nobody likes to eat leftovers except for me. So I'm probably going to end up making some. I'll probably end up making some Brunswick stew tomorrow or something like that.
Okay. I will tell you something I've started doing with that. Is take the leftover pulled pork and throw it in like a freezer bag and throw it in the freezer, and then it actually
Mm-hmm.
reheats like really well later. So just
Mm.
FYI, that's all that'll work too.
I'll have to try some of that out with a portion of it because having some barbecue sandwiches during the game is certainly nice. And then I also did my first foray into some homemade apple cobbler.
Ooh,
um, which was pretty phenomenal. It reminded me of if you've ever been to Cracker Barrel. My grandmother, we're off the rails already. If you've ever been to Cracker Barrel, my grandmother would always get the baked apples at Cracker Barrel, and then she would use the free cornbread or biscuits.
mm.
Usually it was cornbread, and she would like chop up the cornbread into the apples and put some
Okay, yeah,
butter in it and put some butter in it, and that was like a dessert that she would have at Cracker Barrel, and it tasted exactly like that, except I didn't. It was basically like that, but I didn't use cornbread. But
yeah.
um, anyway, it was delicious.
That that sounds amazing. That
We
sounds
just
amazing.
polished off. We just polished off the last bit of the tray this evening, actually.
Okay, cool. We actually redid the wings and bean dip again, which was good. The wings we did again. We bought wings, so they weren't as good this time. So I need to go back to just making the wings myself. So
Yeah, you're never going to be satisfied unless you make them.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know you.
right. Fair enough.
So what? But what I hear you saying is that Bean Dip is undefeated this season.
Yeah, bean dip has not lost. Can confirm. Can confirm. There are some things that happened this game, like around like I will say there was no wardrobe changes. I stuck it through. I felt like we had said like we would figure them out, etc. Although we'll get to that in a minute. But I didn't change my wardrobe. The only thing we did was Kim actually moved seats, so we were watching on the porch. Kim and Lily and
Mm.
I. Lily is always on the move. She moves around throughout the whole game. But Kim got like cold or something, and so she went inside at halftime. And then when we had that monster drive to start the second half, she texted me from the couch inside and it was like, I'm not moving. I'm not leaving the spot. so, so we stuck with that. And it seemed to work. It seemed to work. So it's pretty funny.
I like it. I like it. I like the approach, Kim.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I probably shouldn't be watching the game outside because like I yell at the TV, and I'm sure our neighbors just think I'm crazy.
Ah, sounds like the neighbor's at it again, Pam.
Yeah. Yeah. But the family that's like catty cornered behind us, he is a Tennessee fan and she's a Florida fan, so like they can deal with it. It's fine.
Oh wow. That's a horrible combination.
I know
Just just
a lot of
just
orange.
terrible decisions all around.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good.
All
But
right.
yeah, man. I don't know. I guess we can talk about the game. Um,
Yeah, might as well.
so, dude, like, there was like so much went on. And I think number one, I'm happy for Gunner. Um, there was so much said about him last week by not just like podcasts and people like us, but I'm talking like national media people like, can he get it done and everything. So for him to show up like that, in a spot like that on the road, first SEC road start, and have Kirby talk about it, in the post game right away,
hmm
that was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's one of those things that I think it's one of those things where it wasn't just Gunner, but Gunner got a chance like first play of the game. I mean, we're out there guns blazing. Like shout out, Mike Bobo. Are you not entertained? I think it was something like 500 yards of total offense, and we put up over 40 points
Yeah.
on the road in the SEC. Like mic drop. And we had to score when we needed to. And, I feel like that we saw a lot, but we also needed a little bit more. Um, a couple drives stalled out.
Hmm.
Had we gotten points there, we're probably having a much different conversation about the end of that game. Um, there were a couple of plays on the defensive side of things that had they gone our way, like I was saying, there's we were a handful of plays away from routing them in the first half, in my opinion. But I know that your mileage will vary on how you feel about that in various circles. But it's the reality. So, but
Yeah. So
yeah, Gunner
the long pass plays, right? Like if those go the other way, we break it up or whatever, and then
yeah,
just a
like if
couple of
you
miscues on offense too.
Yeah, some miscues on offense. We I think it was so what was it, the 14 nothing, it was the 14 nothing score, where they stormed down the field and won like a couple plays. It was like, well, at least they didn't take a ton of time off the clock kind of thing. I
Yeah.
remember when that happened, I was like, well, the one beauty about that is that they scored really fast. So um it doesn't really hurt us that much in the grand scheme of things. Certainly wasn't good, but I imagine it kind of changed some of the play calls early on.
Hmm.
We won the coin toss, which that was like the first thing that I was looking for. Like, did we win the coin toss? Because that, in my opinion, was also pretty important, as it turns out, because we were able to score and then get the ball back to kind of close the gap there in the second half. But um, when he threw, that's the thing. Like several of their big plays, like everybody was like talking about how amazing Joey Aguilar was. I mean, from a stat line perspective, like it certainly stood out very, very sharply. But I think that they showed a stat towards in the second half where it was like he actually was not doing that great in the second half.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I think the defense changed. Like we got pressure on them, right? I mean, I think we were talking about that in the text thread, one of the text threads that, pressure is quarterback pressure is is like the great equalizer in this game. I mean, he looked like all world, all everything, started getting in his face and he threw a couple of picks. I will say this though, like, cause I was thinking about this a lot around, my big thing heading into this game was the a Josh Heupel Tennessee offense had never scored more than 17 points on Georgia, right? So they can go down, they can score really fast, they can get out to a lead, but eventually we're gonna, like figure them out and shut them down. And I mean, I guess they definitely hit a lull, and then they kind of came back to life later in the game. But I was thinking through it. I mean, honestly, I will say, I mean, I got to give Aguilar credit. Like, I feel like he very different than what we've seen out of this offense the last couple of years. We've seen them hit big plays early in the game, then they go away. But it wasn't necessarily that the receivers weren't open. So, we've seen over the last couple of years, we've seen Hendon Hooker, we've seen Nico overthrow the deep ball and not give the receiver a chance. And that didn't happen here, right? I mean, he wasn't overthrowing the guys. I mean, he was if the guy was wide open, he was getting the ball, and they made us pay for it. So I gotta give him credit there. I honestly think he was a pretty big. I mean, he's a pretty big difference maker in this game as opposed to their last two quarterbacks. Honestly,
Yeah, no, I'm not going to give him that much credit, Jim. Um,
I mean,
I
I'm telling you, man, that offense functioned a lot better on Saturday than it has the last 4 years against us. So
That's fine. I guess I go back to what I was saying before, where like the touchdown pass that they threw over, what was it, Dalen Everett? I think it was on the perimeter there in the second half, where we were all kind of crying for the push off. Um, like
it was Harris.
Harris, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Daniel Harris. Um, I mean, you could see it clear as day. Like he got pushed, and that little push was enough to push him away from the receiver to the point where he could not bat down that ball. That push doesn't happen, or Daniel Harris takes a different angle, like whatever. Like he was within an inch of deflecting that pass. He had great
Yeah.
coverage on it. Got out muscled, pushed off, however you want to look at it. But he was so close to knocking that ball down. He knocks that ball down, they don't score there. Um, you had KJ Bolden got burned. I think he tried to pull up to not commit pass interference, whereas, you know, if you're beat deep and you know you're beat deep, then maybe go ahead and just commit the pass interference. But I think he was trying to pull up as opposed to not knock the guy down.
I think
That play could
that was Robinson, right? I think they were thinking of Robinson
was it
when
Ellis Robinson? Okay.
yeah, that was the first deep touchdown.
Right. There
Yeah.
was yeah, that was the first deep touchdown. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean that play could have gone anywhere. Like I guess that like Josh put it best. Like I'll take him throwing those balls up the way that he was throwing them up like all day long because
Yeah.
those plays 9 times out of 10 are either intercepted or they're deflected.
Yeah.
Um and so I don't know. I thought that it wasn't that great. I mean, even in the overtime series that they had, there was a deflected ball that was just so
Mm,
close to being intercepted. And
yeah.
if we intercept that pass there, it's game over, like right then and there, basically.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I wasn't that impressed with him. I thought that they have the way that they got their, they get their balls to the receiver, they spread everybody out, they do go really, really fast and um, I think that Brooks Austin was talking about how it was like a chess match in the second half with the defense and the offense. So um, I keep hearing that we took our foot off the gas, and got conservative for whatever reason, which I don't really know that I buy that because we weren't really like at what point do you take your foot off the gas when you're down for
I
most
totally
of the
did.
game?
I totally disagree with that. I mean, like what was working just didn't work for a couple of drives. I mean, we came out,
Right.
I mean, so like yes, first play of the game was a shot play, right? And so our first offensive drive, I will say like that was like we hadn't seen that. We hadn't even tried to do that this year. So the whole I mean, I feel like it's safe to say that yes, we were holding things back for the old people who said we weren't. Seems to
Hmm.
me we were. I also saw Brooks Austin say I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did see a clip where he was saying that from what he watched, I think we ran 11 brand new offensive plays that he had never seen us run under Bobo, like 11 new runs specifically. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, I mean, like the first drive obviously incredible. Um, the the middle eight, right? So like I think that was where like early in the game, I think you and I were we were doing some cheering some people up. in a couple of text threads. I know I said something around like, let's wait until we get after the middle eight. You were pointing out what you were just talking about earlier around like, look, it's a play here, it's a play there. Like this game is a lot closer than the score, which again, I gotta say kudos to you, JP. I feel like you were keeping people calm in multiple text threads during the game, so thank you. Uh, that's
which is not normal.
that's usually a job that's solely for me, and to have your help was incredible.
Yes,
So thank you.
I felt I was on an island in at many points. Like, am I the only one that sees this? Like, what's going on? Like,
Um, but like, dude, when we got through that, oh, actually, you know what? So the funny thing is, I was looking back at it because I had said something about how well we had done in the middle eight. The funny thing is, I guess technically no, because our first drive of the second half was like 8 minutes. So it was like, I guess we were out of the middle eight, really, technically, by the time we scored that touchdown. But I mean, that drive, it was what, like one pass and the rest runs. I don't have the drive chart up or anything, but it was something like 11 plays and 10 of them were runs, something along those lines. And so we were running the ball down their throat, and I think that just it didn't work. Like we had a couple of drives where we were still running and the run didn't work. I don't think that it was quote taking the foot off the gas. I think we wanted to run the ball. We wanted to establish the run. It's a cumulative thing, and then you see how it worked at the very end where we were able to run, basically win the game running the ball, at least in overtime.
hmm
So yeah, I don't agree with the taking. I don't think it's a philosophy change of taking the foot off the gas thing. I think the plays just didn't work. I mean, got to give Tennessee's defense some credit for stopping the run there.
Yeah. Um, it definitely was they did enough to put a worry in us. I mean, you look at the game cast and there were at one point, this is actually before they even attempted their field goal, but they had almost a 94% win probability in that game in that last drive.
Yeah,
Um, which is kind of crazy because they basically when they had to move the ball, they did, and they
yeah.
moved it with ease. And then they got down, and then they missed the field goal. And I feel like that was just that the wind just evaporated for them, like the wind in their sails, that whole moment. And then I think it was like, oh no, here we go.
Well,
You know what I
especially for
mean?
the yeah, especially for the
Even
fans who thought they made it, according to the videos that we've now seen surface on the internet. It's kind of wild.
Oh man, yeah, dude. I don't even know how anybody could thought that that was even close to being made, but I guess vantage points,
Yeah,
I'll give them some slack there,
it
but
was very easy to tell on TV from the
it
angle we
was
had on TV.
very easy to tell. It was never even close.
Yeah.
Um, the I didn't have you heard, did you even hear the Scott Howard call on that? I haven't even heard it. Was it another no
Now,
good?
it was not. It was not like that. But I think even at his vantage point, right? So because he's on the sideline, you could tell it took him it took him a second to know. I think he probably had to wait for the official to signal, is my guess. I'm not really sure. But no, he did
Right.
not do the no good. I can't remember what it was, but he didn't. He did not repeat that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, like flow of the game, wild game. I don't know, man, like to get to nine in a row over these guys, like is so wild to think about from the past. But I mean, that's an awesome thing when you can tie the series record. So now we can say that there has never been a time where Tennessee has won more in a row over us than we have at this point. Um,
hmm
and I mean, we may not have this game again for a few years with the schedule changes. So we'll table that and save that for another day. But there's a chance,
Crazy.
we go on a little bit of a break here. So
I'm
um,
not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of that.
yeah, I know, me neither.
Yeah.
Um, how about I have a sorry, I mean this is another kind of off the rails one. I have a question for you, John. If you've because we haven't something we have I've noticed but we haven't talked about. Um, Zachariah Branch with his. Am I correct to say that that's a Ronaldo celebration that he does?
That is the Ronaldo stew.
Okay. Okay. That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
So when you hear the people in the crowd, I mean, I haven't I guess I haven't been there. I don't recall if I remember, but like you might hear a subtle like "Boo" when he does that.
Okay.
That's what Ronaldo does.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Dude, he's been a revelation,
Dude,
Branch.
the kid is absolutely electric. He is everything that a five-star wide receiver is advertised. Um, it's like having your own, it's like having your own superstar wide receiver. Like, I mean, I think I would actually argue that he's probably been a bigger impact than even like a um uh
Sorry
I'm
about that.
I totally
Like,
blanked out.
are we talking
Um
about like from another school?
no, we're talking about God on the Dallas Cowboys. What the heck?
Pickens?
Pickens. Yeah, I would argue that he's even more impactful than Pickens.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, just to be able to get him the ball in space and then let him run. I saw something today around like the speed. I think he was one of the top. He hit one of the top five speeds in all of college football on
Dude,
that on
he
his
is
touchdown.
fast. He
I
is
think yeah,
fast and he is shifty.
he was going. It was like close to 25 miles an hour. They clocked him at on that on his long touchdown. And then actually, I just thought of this. You sent me a reel this morning on something that you noticed on the 2 point conversion with him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
he
cool.
was I didn't notice it on the broadcast, but there was a reel that was shared that was basically analyzing like how he basically like was faking out everybody to make it seem like the play wasn't going to him because he was nowhere near the huddle when that play was being called, the 2 point conversion play.
Yeah,
And he was basically just like hanging out outside of the circle and was just kind of like waiting for everybody to break as if he knew he wasn't going to be getting the ball. And then the ball basically immediately went to him.
yeah. And again, what a
I don't,
route, man! Like that
someone
play
needs
was
to
that was sweet.
someone needs to ask Kirby Smart or Mike Bobo or Zachariah Branch if you get him on a mic. Like someone needs to ask him what was going on there.
Like were they intentionally making it look like he wasn't going to be involved, kind of thing? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely looks like it when you watch it.
I'll say this also that I feel like that there were several looks that happened in that game that if they ever present themselves again, I personally will be looking out for them. So on that 2 point conversion play, um, the specific lineup was there was a guy that was playing off on Branch, and then there was a guy that was they had I think there were three defenders in that area if I remember correctly, Jim, and you have a much better memory than I do, but I believe that there was a safety over the top of two cornerbacks. Is that fair or is
Sounds
that correct
sounds
from your
right.
recollection?
See,
But
and I haven't done my full rewatch yet.
but
So,
basically what he did was is that he went in motion and brought a defender with him. So there was a defender that was following him, so that told Gunner that he had single coverage, right?
right.
And as soon as he got into he like went to the right hand side of Colby Young, like he went from outside to inside slot or whatever, however I'm totally butchering it, but
That's fine.
basically he as soon as the ball was snapped, he moved and went behind Colby Young. And Colby Young basically served as a pick slash blocked two guys, blocked his guy into the man that was covering him. And I'm telling you, dude, I hope that Bobo saw that because that look could create a lot of problems down the road.
Yeah.
Because Colby Young is a large human, and he can clear if he can clear out some single coverage there. There was another instance where if Oscar Delp was on the outside, and if he holds his block a little bit longer on one of those pass plays, there was a similar play where the man that was covering him got caught up in some traffic. And if Oscar Delp had held his block a little bit longer, like he's gone. He's gone for another long touchdown. I
Yeah.
saw that a couple of different times. I don't know. Delp didn't have the best game, I think, if we're being honest, but he did have a kung fu kick, so that was cool. Um,
Did we bring back like did he learn that from JT Daniels? Remember when JT Daniels used to do the hiya when he throw?
I was waiting for the hiya comment.
Oh man. Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean,
Somebody did like an AI generated like image of him kicking the guy. It was pretty funny. But anyways.
I I feel as though that could have easily been a flag,
Yeah, I
and
know. Yeah.
I'm shocked that it wasn't. Which I guess that brings us to a couple of other things that I want to talk about. The officiating in this call was in this game was pretty like weird in my opinion because there were like there were pass interferences called to get like we benefited from some pass interferences that were like iffy.
Hmm.
They benefited from some pass interferences that didn't get called. And like it was just all over the place. Like there's just missed calls, I felt like all over the place. And yeah, like even on the London Humphreys touchdown, there was a face mask that happened right there. Like someone was literally dragging him down by the face mask. Not London Humphreys, someone else that was on the play. I don't even remember who it was. I just saw some analysis videos of people that were looking at it. It was like, what is going on here? Like someone was literally getting dragged down by their face mask in that play.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't gone back and fully rewatched it. I listened to the Bulldog Brunch, or most of it, and I can't remember if it was Kevin or Jeff, but one of them did say that the as somebody was questioning the officiating, and one of the responses was that it was fairly even, like kind of all you can, not all you can ask for, but you at least want to see things be enforced evenly across the both teams. So I think like one example of that is, I mean, we've talked about how it felt like the receiver kind of pushed off on Daniel Harris. I mean, I think they could argue that, like, if you're going to go that route, you could argue London Humphreys pushed off on their DB. I mean, I think it's similar. I would say his was less so, but yeah, I noticed some of the similar things as you.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I guess a couple of things. Wanted to shout out for Dog Stats, um, as a lover of the 13 personnel, and we know his hat made its way over to Todd Hartley at some point, and I made a joke that Todd Hartley was wearing his run the damn 13 personnel hat after that game. I mean, we ran 13 personnel multiple times in that game with Lucky Delp and Jaden Riddell. Um, I mean, that was the first play of overtime, 13 personnel, bunch formation, jumbo ish kind of package. And to seal that and have Nate Frazier, I mean, I thought I was going to score when he got around the edge. That was pretty sweet to see, and I know that made Josh happy.
Right. I love it. Anytime we can get more of the tight ends involved, I think that's that's a good thing. So,
Yeah.
um, I'll take the win.
I will say I did not have Josh McRae scoring 2 touchdowns, including the game winner, on my bingo card heading into this one,
Dude,
based on how the season had gone thus far.
okay, so I guess that will be a nice little segue to talk about the running backs.
Sure. The depth is off the charts, I feel like.
Off the charts. I think at one point they talked to how many rushing yards do we have? Like 200 something yards rushing?
198 rushing yards. And that's net.
Oh, so close.
Yeah.
So close. Yeah, dude. We did such a good job running the ball. Josh McCray, I mean, I think that he kind of solidified himself. Although I do think that there's couple of things that are involved there. I do think that they kind of settled on some offensive line situations because the offensive line was struggling, which I guess we'll get to that in a second. We haven't talked about that. Stacy.
There's a lot to talk about with this game. So much happened. That's what I'm saying. Like, so much happened in this game.
Yeah, so Chauncey Bowens has
Mm,
quickly risen to the ranks. I think that Peanut struggled. Peanut came off at one point, and I don't think he came back. So
yeah.
I'm curious to see a couple of guys didn't come back
Yeah.
after playing some. So I'm curious to see like what the injury report looks like. I remember when Peanut went down and then never came back. I remember when he went down, I kind of was like, oh, that looked a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. You texted.
Um,
I remember you texted me when that happened.
yeah. Um, so I'm a little worried about our boy Peanut, but dude, Chauncey Bowens looking like a man possessed. There in the middle, second and third quarters kind of thing. And then Josh McCray coming in. I mean, you had Nate Frazier with almost a Sonny Michel moment
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
walk off at Neyland Stadium. He was so close, dude. He was so close. He was so close to walking it off. But I guess it made it even sweeter because it forced everyone, all of those hillbillies, to just like realize and soak in their loserness and just marinate in the L that was about to come down their throat. And we ran it down their throat. And man, dude, Josh McRae held on to that ball for a long time. Like he
Yeah.
extended it in like Kirk Herbstreit was talking about he took a risk in extending that ball, but man, he held on to that sucker. That was impressive.
It was impressive. That
He
was
had a
kind of
guy
weird that
pulling him. He had a guy pulling him and still was able to drive his feet.
yeah, it was impressive. I mean, both of his touchdown runs in that short yard situation where kind of gets stood up and is able to power through there.
Hmm.
That was kind of weird on the broadcast that they hadn't cut back, like they weren't showing the ref announcing it. Like you kind of like overheard it in the background. I thought that was kind of weird. Made it a little anticlimactic, but that's
Right.
okay. We can live with it. Let's see. We had some accolades come out because we're recording on Monday. Did you see Gunnar Stockton, SEC Offensive Player of the Week?
I did not.
Yep. So, I
Okay.
mean, I mean, I know, kind of open with that, but it was a heck of a game. It was a gritty performance. We had people saying he couldn't throw the ball downfield. He definitely can. And man, I mean, he made. I'm not saying like every throw was perfect or anything, but he made some throws where he really hung in there, got hit, and delivered a strike. I think it was on the last drive. He threw a slant to Colby Young where he got hit right as he threw, laid it right in there. And the throw to London Humphreys for the, I guess, the game tying touchdown when you add in the 2 point conversion. Heck of a throw. So heck of a game from Gunner, doing it both with his legs and his arm. And then also Peyton Woodring, SEC Special Teams Player of the Week. Um, which I want to hit on that a little bit because I know, I've seen like some griping from Tennessee fans. Oh, well, if our kicker made it, then we win. I mean, there are three phases to the game, and you could say that the difference in this game is Georgia's kicker was 3 for 3, and Tennessee's was 2 for 3. So I mean, it's a huge part of the game, and had another payday. Glad to have Woodring on our side.
Love it. Yeah, dude, he looked good. I liked it. Um, yeah, dude, he was automatic. And I'll say this about the other kid that was trying to kick the field goal. The broadcast, he was it was a broadcaster's curse, I feel like, because
Mm.
they literally were commenting on how he was huffing and puffing, like right before. It was almost like he was hyperventilating or something, and someone had to calm him down.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say
Poor
too, man. I
kid.
mean, like that the false start on the play before that, that's not helping anything on their end. And how about Georgia's offensive line, zero false starts at Neyland Stadium yet again. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's zero false starts, like period, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think our last two trips there, our offensive line has not had a false start.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
I was it was definitely a I was definitely happy with the penalty situation. Even the pass interferences I didn't think were all that bad, but there was definitely one. Who was it? Was it KJ Bolden or was it Ellis Robinson? I can't remember. There was one right before they scored another touchdown in the first half where we had them on third and long, and someone just draped their arm around the receiver on third down. It was almost not necessary,
Yeah,
and we got called for the pass interference and extended a play. That was third and long. Defense is coming off. That's one of those another situation where, like, if some plays go our way, you know, it wipes points off the board. And then conversely, when we get down into a first and goal situation two times, you expect us to come away with at least a touchdown. Instead, we come away with 6 points. Like, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if had Tennessee hung on and won this game, just think about how different the narrative is. I mean, I think if Georgia loses that game, we're talking about how we saw signs of Georgia's red zone woes against Austin P and cost us the game against Tennessee. Thankfully we were able to do enough to come back and win the game. But everything would it would have been a very different conversation we're having if we weren't able to come back and win that game.
Right. The other thing that we haven't talked about that we need to is the offensive line, Jim.
Yeah. So okay, so Ernest Green was back at least at the beginning of the game. I saw Juan Gaston in there at one point. They both ended up coming out. So, like you said earlier, need to check the injury report. I don't know what is going on there. I was actually questioning like re-injured, tired. Can't go the whole game yet after being out. Not sure. Um, so yeah, there was definitely some rotation going on trying to find the the right combinations live during a game on the road in the SEC. Not exactly what you want to be doing, but ultimately figured it out, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I think that they figured out some things. But either way, like I hope that Stacy Searles, I wasn't going to say his name, but I just did, so we'll roll with it. That offensive line coach needs to have his entire offensive line just show play after play where Gunnar Stockton is getting absolutely lit up on multiple occasions, where the offensive line is turned around, looking at their quarterback, getting his rear end knocked into the dirt, and they just have to go and pick him up. Like,
Yeah.
that is one of the worst, it has to be one of the worst feelings, but they need to let that marinate and to not ever let it happen again. I hope that Gunner did not take them out to a steak dinner um, when he got home. Beanie weenies for you guys. I mean, there were just multiple plays where Gunner just got absolutely lit up. I mean, the broadcast talked about it a couple of times, like, you know, he stood in there on a third down situation and delivered a strike to, I think, Dylan Bell on one of the last plays before he threw the bomb to London Humphreys. And he just got absolutely destroyed. And the kid just gets up like he got run over by a cow.
He does like his cows. Um, yeah, yeah, no. I think that one was to Young. Although I did want to say Dylan Bell. Dylan Bell did have a huge, huge third down conversion. I guess I would say it was our second to last third down of the game on offense. And it was one of those, short screen passes, and he made a guy miss to get the first down. Was pretty nice. The one thing I did want to call out about the offensive line though is that the video that we saw post game, I think it was Allison Masterangelo from she's what, Channel 2, I think, in Atlanta,
Hmm.
posted the video of Bo Hewley just like, you know, hugging people and crying and celebrating like that right there. Like that's I don't know, man, like that's what it's all about to me. That was really cool to see what it meant to him. To come in there late, make a difference. And I mean, he was the right tackle. He was the right tackle that was in the game at the end of the game. After we've been struggling with injuries, and we say like next man up, he went in there and did his job and helped get the W. And just to see what it meant to him, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was nice to see that it meant so much to some of these guys.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's good to have those moments. I think that this was a game of moments that were similar to that. I think in the victory video, which I haven't watched all the way through, but just in the first few minutes of the victory video, which I think you said was like almost 7 minutes long.
It's like 6.5 minutes. It's glorious, glorious.
It's
It's like
like
an
a
episode
it's
of My God a Podcast and a highlight reel.
it's like a short movie, a short film.
It's cinema. It's cinema is what it is.
It is absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema.
Which if you haven't seen our Instagram post, go and check it out. I made a little Instagram video for the victory. Um,
Like, subscribe.
the
Sorry,
like and
go ahead.
subscribe. Yes. Um, he was talking about how they have a, next play mentality
Mm,
and how they, basically just like this never say die, like, shrug it off, like be prepared to make a play, like good players make plays, that kind of thing.
yeah,
Um, and even if you don't, you'll get the next one. And that is that mentality of, you know, being a goldfish,
yeah,
as Coach Ted Lasso likes to say, be a goldfish. That mentality on all levels of sports and really in anything you do in life, but particularly in sports. That was something that I always liked to tell Carter, is just like, get the next one, get the next one. Like if he makes a mistake on the field or whatever, like he would always get so down on himself and just be like, man, you just gotta forget it. You gotta get the next one.
yeah.
Um, and they did, man. There were multiple guys that made mistakes. Like we talked about Ellis Robinson. He came up with a big play later on.
Hmm.
I mean, shoot, we could talk about Aguero, man. He has, which by the way, I kind of got to crack up on the broadcast called him Aguilar, Aguilar a few times. I was like, nope, that's Aguero. But we've talked about Aguero on this podcast, on this here podcast, multiple times over the last several years
Mhm.
as like a guy to watch out for that we were hearing about. And dude, he had an absolute baller a game. He
Yeah.
was running around like his hair was on fire in this game. Big time SEC matchup on the road. That was nice to see some redemption there. The offensive line redeemed itself over the the game. They weren't getting pushed, but then when it mattered the most, they got pushed. I mean, Tennessee players were into the end zone on a goal line situation.
Mhm.
Um, you had London Humphreys, who made a mistake earlier in the game where literally everyone and their son, I'm not going to name any names, hey, Trey, that were calling for him to be shipped back to Vanderbilt. Um, I have to admit that I had some of those thoughts too. I didn't put them in writing, but I had some of those thoughts too. That I was like, dang it, this is ridiculous. Like, and they weren't they redeemed he redeemed himself when it mattered most. So I guess the point is that we found out what kind of team we have in this game where we literally had no business winning this game. Statistically, categorically, like look and feel. I've got buddies that are like wouldn't listen to me at all that were talking about how, we didn't look good and, you know, that they were really worried even after the win. And I'm like, dude, like, if you didn't see it, then I can't really help you. But that team fought to the end, and we are very much going to be in every single game to the bitter end all season long, is what I'm prepared for. And I'm kind of excited about it, to be honest with you, because, like I said, they showed their mettle mentally throughout the entire duration of that game, and they were never in doubt. And our quarterback looked freaking rock solid all game long.
Yeah. It was nice. I also so another thing that I on that I guess same thread from the highlight reel, the cinema. Um there's also a return of the players saying keep chopping. So there's a moment where they're on the sideline, they're just screaming keep chopping, keep chopping. I was like, yes, we are so back. So that was sweet. I like that as well.
Yeah. The other thing that I think is good to see is the fact that um, Kirby learned from last season.
Mm.
He substituted Ryan Puglisi in before the first half to throw a bomb deep,
Yeah.
which at the time I was like, what is going on? Is he the one that can throw the ball the furthest? Is that really what's going on? Why is he the starter? And then I realized it's like people were talking like, oh, so he did that because yeah, he didn't want Gunner to get hurt on a throwaway play at the end of the first half.
I will say, Lily like right away was like, she's like, "Ooh, that's so smart." Because remember when Beck got hurt, and I was like, "Oh man, that's pretty. That's a great observation, Lily."
Good
Um,
job, Lily.
but then like when he, I mean, Hail Mary, and they get the pick, and then then she was like, "I feel kind of sad for Ryan Puglisi because the odds are that's going to be his only statistic from this game." I was like, "True," and she was right again. So that's okay, Ryan. We don't hold it against you. I something that happened after we recorded, I think the day before the game. Um, back on the Onward Reserve sponsor train, when the Onward Reserve catalog hit my mailbox on Friday with Gunner on the cover, uh, that was a good omen that truly played out for the game.
Yep. Oh, man, it was good. It was good though.
My question to you, John, is we went into the game talking about like how great the defense is. I know we gave a lot of points in this game, but did it concern you? Did it change your opinion of like quote like how good our defense is, or was it just a play here, a play there?
It would concern me a little bit. It concerns me a little bit that we got, ripped apart. Like, here we are. We had contested catches all day long on our offensive side of things, which this is where we talk about Bobo and all those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
But they had no problem getting open early on.
Yeah.
And I say that early on, and I don't know if that's like the chess match that's going on. Um, but yeah, I think that it's one of those things where you just kind of have to like chalk it up to this offense is tough to defend. I don't know that we're going to see. I mean, maybe with Alabama to a certain extent, maybe with Ole Miss. I don't know that we're going to see. This was probably really good practice for the Ole Miss game. I don't know that Ole Miss has a quarterback that's as skilled as, or I don't think that Ole Miss has a quarterback or a wide receiver. I think it's the wide receivers, to be honest with you, because
Yeah,
those are some big boys, man. Like they
I
were
say
towering.
they were physical.
Yeah, physical wide receivers. They were really tall. So anyway, I think that you just kind of have to chalk it up to this offense, but it was definitely concerning that they had wide receivers just kind of running around willy-nilly wide
Yeah,
open and they had no problem finding them.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. I think that makes sense.
Defensive line didn't get great push. It's not that they didn't get good push, but I feel like that, we should have had some sacks that we didn't have. There's definitely some missed tackles here and there that I was like, oh man, arm tackling,
Mm. Yeah, there's times
Um,
we was like we had them in the backfield, and then they got
hmm
positive yardage a few times. Yeah, I remember we were talking about that in the game.
Yep, for sure. It's just one of those things that I think that we just kind of have to, they did enough and they adjusted throughout the game and they got better as the game kind of wore on, which is kind of what you want to see.
Yeah,
We kind of like I mean, the quarterback's numbers bear out, on how he actually did throughout the duration of the game. So bulk of his, QBR and yards ratings are probably from the beginning of the game. So, um, yeah, I don't,
yeah,
I don't know that I necessarily have like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling for the defense more so than I do the offensive line. I'm more worried about the offensive line than I am the defense overall. Again, I think that this offensive line is going to be the Achilles heel of this team. That's that's how I see it. That's how I see it. And I don't like it. Hopefully they get something figured out here in the, 2 weeks that they're going to have to kind of get ready for this next game.
yeah,
Um, get healthy and come in and ready to roll with a plan of action for Alabama. And, that's definitely a game I'll be looking for to get us get out to an early start.
yeah. I don't know if my like I need to buck a trend. I think in this game, dude. 3 of our last 6 games have gone to overtime.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's
Well,
crazy to think about.
to be fair, we're playing really good teams.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I mean, we've got so you got Tennessee, you've got Georgia Tech, you've got Texas.
Texas. Yeah. The other
Where
three
else?
were Notre Dame, Marshall, and Austin P. That's the six.
Okay,
Yeah. So your 3 overtime games were Georgia Tech, Texas, and then this game
yeah,
against Tennessee.
and I think that's what happens when you play good teams.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. Like I said though, man. Yeah. Nine in a row. That's pretty dang cool. That's pretty dang cool. 9 times in a row we've beaten these guys, JP.
9.
9 times. Here let's recap coaches over unders. We head into the bye week tied in coaches over unders. So I went 4-4 this game. You went 3-5. So we are now tied at 10-14 in the season on the season heading into the bye week. And then we will continue from there. So shout out Coach Trill. I think we got the over unders tally is like Saturday night. I think before I even went to bed, which was like record
Yeah,
time. Coach was all over it this weekend.
he was all over it, man. Dude, I found out early on that I was struggle bus.
That's okay. That's okay. Uh, in the pick'ems, since we picked the same games, which was kind of hilarious. We both went 2-2. So I will say, I did end up picking Vanderbilt. Not so Chuck. Don't get upset with me. I have like an actual pick'em league that that's by the spread, and like I said, I felt like it was going to be close. So I ended up picking Vandy plus the points in a pick another pick'em thing that I do. I'll also say if Lenora Sellers doesn't get hurt, yeah, who knows? I think it was 14-7 when he got hurt, and they're a different team without Lenora Sellers. But man, Vanderbilt looks good, man. Um, they're finally ranked. I thought I said last week they should have already been ranked. They're finally ranked now, but their schedule gets pretty tough.
I was about to say, I feel like that Vanderbilt is in the same vein as, let me just double check. Who all have they played?
Who has
Maybe,
Vanderbilt?
yeah, maybe they have,
So
maybe
they
South Carolina is not as good as we thought they were. I don't know. But they have played, let's see who they played.
Virginia Tech.
They played Virginia Tech, which is not good.
They just fired their coach.
Yeah, they just fired their coach. South Carolina, Virginia Tech, and Charleston Southern, right? Yeah, Charleston
Yes.
Southern, Virginia Tech, and South Carolina.
Yep. But they've got their next two games though are Georgia State and then Utah State. So we're likely looking at Vanderbilt heading in to Bryant Denny Stadium at Alabama on October 4th. I mean, Vandy's probably going to roll in there 5-0
Is,
going to
is,
Alabama.
is Vandy going to be rolling into Bryant Denny ranked higher than Alabama? People are talking.
Sorry. I will say this: the SEC shorts guy is definitely going to be walking in with his cane and his in his cape.
I do enjoy the cane. I do enjoy the cane situation. I haven't seen the next one.
It's pretty
Um,
funny. It came out today. It's pretty good.
all right, I have to check it out.
But yeah, man. That
Diego Pavia, man, he's living the dream.
yeah.
What might have been had Stetson come back for another season.
I'm telling you, we three-peat. Uh, if Stetson was the one to sue the NCAA instead of Diego Pavia, we three-peat. But
Yeah.
oh well. Oh well.
At what point are we going to start hearing calls for Diego Pavia on the Heisman?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of like re-ranking of like quarterback ratings stuff going on of late. So
I'll tell you what. Gunnar Stockton, the Gunnar Stockton disrespect is palpable, particularly amongst certain alumni quarterbacks.
mm, mm.
I believe that one Aaron Murray had a list of top 10 quarterbacks, and Gunnar Stockton was not anywhere on that list, or top
Oh
15
yeah,
quarterbacks, or
I've
something like
seen that.
that.
I've seen that.
Gunnar was not listed.
I'll
Mm.
tell you though, I mean the way everyone just changes their mind instantly is kind of funny to me. Like the way narratives can just like flip. Um, like how everyone was so big, so high on LSU after they beat Clemson. Clemson now lost to Georgia Tech. Like I don't, so it's like, what does that really mean? LSU, I mean, they beat Florida by 10, but and they covered the spread. But I mean, Lagway had like 5 picks. I think so. I don't
Bro,
know, but so people are just like changing all these things so fast. And I thought like last week it was like Gunnar Stockton can't do anything, and this week I saw one video. Oh shoot, I can try to remember. I think it was Todd McShay, and he was he was saying kind of what we've been saying. It's like, look, man, like Beck is a great fit at Miami, and Gunnar Stockton's a great fit at Georgia, and he's like now like totally on board with that. After like last week, everyone's like, oh, Gunnar can't even throw the ball downfield. I don't know. It's so funny to me like how fast this stuff can change.
yeah, it's speaking of the LSU game, dude, that game was so annoying to watch. Like it was like just like they were just trying to lose that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had the multi TV setup going, and we had that game on, but it just like it wasn't that close. So we kind of kept flipping around. I think we ended up mainly focusing on Vandy, South Carolina, the A&M Notre Dame because that was a really good game. And there was something else that was on at that time. Maybe it was Florida LSU that we had, but there were like 4 games that were pretty good matchups on at night Saturday night. So I had a nice evening out by the fire. Uh, Kind of winding down after all the adrenaline from an overtime victory over the Vols. It was fun.
Excellent. It was definitely a good day. We also we tried to watch the Canelo fight. But
Mm.
bro, it was like after midnight and it still wasn't on. And at one point my buddy was like, dude, I gotta go to bed. We're going I can't do this anymore. Like we waited for so long and I don't yeah. I wasn't really it wasn't really a thing for me, but
Mm.
it kind of was. So it,
I'll
it
tell you
is
what
what it is.
I'll tell you what I did, and I haven't done this in a while. Which I said I haven't rewatched the game. I haven't fully, but so Kim had gone to bed because Kim goes to bed early, and so it was Lily and I watching. And so when that Notre Dame A&M game ended, Lily went straight to bed. I actually stayed up and I basically like put our game back on and kind of like went like fast forwarding through it and like just to see all the scores and just kind of catch some momentum shifts. So I mean, like I said, that was a fun game. I haven't sat up and done that, like kind of rewatch stuff just like that night right after the game in a bit. It was fun. It was fun. I had a lot of fun watching that game. I mean, I know like that's kind of hindsight, but just with the back and forth and everything, I mean, that was an instant classic. It was an instant classic kind of game.
5 interceptions. Crazy.
Well, that one wasn't an instant classic. Georgia Tennessee was an instant classic.
Oh yeah, yeah, that one was an instant classic. But the Florida game was just insane. I can't believe Lagway is. And here's the thing. I think you said this. Like, was it you or John? Like every quarterback that plays us ends up playing like their all-time game against us.
Mm,
And I hope that Lagway saves 5 interceptions for our game.
yeah. No, I didn't say that. Someone did say I'm in that thread. I think Josh said that. I'm not sure. Someone did say that though during our game when Aguilar was going off early.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I don't know. Anything else you got for this one, JP?
Um, Rocky Flop, you'll always be home sweet home for me. Go dogs.
Go dogs.